How's it going, guys? Today I want to go over a checklist that you'll need if you're looking at buying either your first house or a house, and you just want to have a quick reference guide of the things you need to get together before you go and start your search. So my goal with today's video is to help you have a high-level understanding of the things that you're going to need when you're ready to buy a home. You won't have a lot of detail in this video, but I will be creating follow-on videos for each section to help elaborate and help you understand if you have any questions on each section. But in the end, today you should understand and have a list of all the things that you need to gather before you're ready to reach out to a real estate agent to apply for a house. Now, the first thing you want to figure out is what your credit score is and whether or not you qualify for the loans. Now, a general rule of thumb when buying a house is to have a credit score at or above 720. Now, that's not to say you can't get a loan with a credit score as low as 580, but there are a lot of benefits to having a credit score that is higher because you'll get a lower interest rate, which will reduce the amount of money you pay the bank for the loan over the life of that loan. Which doesn't seem like much, but it adds up over 30 years on a mortgage when you take a loan out for $200,000 and it comes out to roughly $180,000 to $200,000 of additional interest, meaning you've paid almost $400,000 for that $200,000 house. So the next thing you want to know is your debt to income ratio. Now this is pretty easy to figure out, and all you need to do is take a piece of paper and write down all of your monthly expenses, so all of your debts. Do you have a house or a mortgage? Do you have car payments? Do you have credit card payments? Write all those monthly payments down, add up the total, and then go to your income. Add up all of your total incomes before taxes come out. So that's your gross. And then when you divide them by one another, you should come out with a percentage of what your debt to income ratio is. You want to have 50% because 50% would mean that every $100 you make, you have $50 in debt. You have $50 to spare to support that debt if things were to go bad or a tragedy were to strike. Additionally, if you can have it as low as 35%, that'll make a significant improvement when applying for a loan and getting a better interest rate because it shows you are of much less risk to the bank. Now, the third thing you want to have is going to be cash reserves for a down payment. And if you don't need a down payment because you have a USDA loan and you're requesting closing help, or you're doing a USDA loan with 0% down, you still want to make sure that you have cash reserves in place so that when you buy the house, if there is a major problem such as a broken HVAC or a water pipe burst, you can cover that repair. You don't need a crazy amount, but you still should have a significant amount in place so that you do not buy a house and immediately be struck with a tragedy or a major mishap that leaves you in financial burden. So something a lot of people don't realize is not only do you need to keep cash reserves aside for the down payment, you also want to leave a little bit of money aside so that you can do inspections as well as any closing fees that may pop up that fall on you to pay. So I recommend for the inspections to plan for about $1,000 to $2,000 depending on how many houses you actually submit offers for and whether or not you're required to put an inspection in place for that house. Now, in most USDA or FHA loans, especially when they require no money down, they require you to do an inspection, and that's going to cost you about $250 per inspection, sometimes more depending on the inspector or the company. That may be as much as $500. And sometimes specific inspection types require more money. Just to be able to do say a septic or well inspection will cost you a little bit more to do. But they do come with a significant peace of mind because those are not cheap things to replace. So once you have all these things in place, you're ready to find either a lender or a real estate agent. In my personal opinion, I recommend trying to find a lender first because you want to make sure that you have the credit score as well as the right amount of cash reserves required to enter the home buying process. So that when you reach out to your agent, you can show that you are pre-qualified from your lender so that they know you are financially capable of buying the house you're requesting them to take you to showings on. Because you want to put yourself in your real estate agent's shoes. How many calls do they get a day where somebody hasn't even been pre-qualified by a lender? They go and show them a $350,000 house, get ready to write an offer, and then when the client goes to their lender, they actually don't have the credit score or the finances in place to even write an offer on the house at that time. And it can take up to 6 months before they're ready. So a lot of times real estate agents' time get extremely wasted. And when you show up as a buyer or even a seller and you can show you have all the financial paperwork and all the process done and in place so that they're ready to buy or you're ready to buy, they're going to put you at the top of their home buyer list, and they're going to be much more receptive to when you call or when you send properties over. Now, this is extremely important because the quicker you can get to the property, the quicker you can write an offer, the less people you're going to compete with in that process. Additionally, you want to make sure when you reach out to that real estate agent, you understand what you can afford and what your specific criteria for a house is. Now, this doesn't mean you can't say 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but be willing to settle for 1 bathroom. A lot of times agents will send you the best case scenarios, and then they'll proceed to send you homes that might reach a little bit outside of your comfort zone, whether it be bigger or less of a house than what you originally planned. But by giving them a very specific criteria and letting them know your strictness of that criteria, you can save your time and the real estate agent's time so that you're not looking at a lot of houses that may not bear any fruit. And the better idea you have for buying a house, the more efficient you're going to be with putting in offers, because you'll get a very good understanding of your market for that specific house and what it should be priced at. Something else you want to consider when looking for a lender, and sometimes this is where your real estate agent can really come in handy, is you want to make sure that you understand the rate that they're giving you. So some variables that come into play: do they charge you a lot more money to actually give you the loan, so in closing fees, but give you a better interest rate? Or do they give you a higher interest rate but are much cheaper to close with? A lot of people will look at the closing costs and then go to 2 or 3 lenders and realize, hey, I can save $1,000 or $2,000 at closing, so they immediately go with that lender. What they didn't pay attention to was they got 0.5% or a whole percentage higher interest rate, and then over the span of 30 years, they actually paid about $20,000 to $30,000 more for that loan just to save $1,000 or $2,000 up front. So you really want to understand what you're looking at, and I'm going to try to make videos on how to break that down and understand what you're looking at so that you can go in with an educated mind and know at the very least what to ask for and some niche terms to use so that you can find a lender that you like and you know are being honest with you. I also want to talk a little bit more about why real estate agents are so important. Now, a lot of people have varying opinions on real estate agents. Mine personally couldn't be higher. Now, there are some bad agents out there as well as there are some amazing agents out there. Now, I recommend reaching out to a couple agents and asking them about what they specialize in, and then to ask them about some of their client feedback. Now, I don't want to run into a salesman. I want to run into somebody who's very investor focused. So when I go and talk to my agent, I like to spark a conversation around investment properties to see if they understand what I'm trying to do. Now, this is important as a first-time home buyer as well, because you don't want somebody who's trying to just get a sale. You want somebody who understands, hey, I'm trying to buy a house and get the best possible deal so that when I'm ready to leave this house, or if I ever want to leave this house, I know I'm not going to be underwater and losing money. Because I want to know that my agent understands my criteria and my mindset around buying that house. But additionally, I know my agent is very informed with the process as well as the documentation required to properly go through the home buying process so that I don't get screwed over. And a lot of people do end up getting screwed over because they try to sell their house themselves, or they try to get a cheap lawyer and then end up forgetting certain things or putting things in place to have an insurance policy for themselves if things were to go sour after the sale of the home or the purchase of the home. Definitely get yourself a good agent and take your time to find the right agent that fits you. You don't want to be trapped in a year-long home buying process with an agent that you find out is just trying to force you to buy the next thing that pops up on the market so that you can get out of his hair. So I hope this video was really helpful, guys. I plan to make a whole series breaking down each one of these bullet points to provide as much information about each section as possible. I wanted this video to just be the high level understanding of what you need so that you could ask yourself the questions you needed going forward. I will provide the answers you need in a more detailed video for each one of these sections. If you like this video and you like some of my other videos, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you have any feedback or tips, please leave me comments. I'm always going to read them, and I'm going to try to apply them into my videos going forward. I'm really excited about starting this series and this channel, and I can't wait to have feedback from some of y'all.